Hi class, welcome to another tutorial on CS384. This time we will learn an interesting concept in Python which is known as for else loop. Till now you have heard if else loop. So now we are seeing for else loop. Now what is the application and how you can use it. So of course there are multiple implementations. You can implement without the use of for else also. So for example, here I am having a list of numbers, right? These are all odd numbers. Okay. Now I want to check whether the list contains an even number or not, right? A very simple program. So what you will do, so you have numbers. So you take a for loop and run for num in numbers, right? So it will go one number at a time. Anyway, this is a list, right? You can see this rectangular brackets. This is a list. Now what happens, giving one number at a time, you divide it by 2. Okay, sorry, you take a mod operation. If the remainder is 0, that means you found the even number. Class, please take care of the indentation. See, this for loop is this long, right? This for loop is this long. So for this for, there are three statements in this. There are four lines in this for, and for this if, these are the three lines, right? For this if also I have indented, and for this for I have indented again. Okay, so nevertheless, the logic is whenever you get a number in the list which is divisible by 2, that is the remainder is 0, you will print and set the value of a flag as 1. I have defined a variable flag equal to 0, right? So for example, if there are no numbers, like in this case, all are odd numbers, so it will never come in the if loop. Since it will never come in the part of if loop, the flag variable set is 0, right? Then I check if flag is equal to 1, right? Because if I am coming here, the list had an even number. Now if the program never came into this loop, the value of flag will be remaining 0 and it will print the list did not have any even number. Got the logic? Simple. Like if you have done C, you get this logic. You divide every number by 2, and if none are found, we just set a flag variable. Now let us execute the code, right? The list did not have an even number, which is perfectly fine. So now let us add an even number at random place. Let us keep a 78. Okay, so twice it is printed because it is printing once here and then it is printing here. The list had an even number. So the program is working absolutely fine. Okay, now see, the headache here is because you had to keep a track whether the number was divisible by 2 or not. So you define a flag variable, then you set the value of a flag variable, then you break out of the loop. So break, what it does, the moment there is the moment you get a number divisible by 2, you need not check any other element because you have to just check for one element. You break out of the loop, so you stop the loop then and there. So after setting the flag variable, you have to check with the flag, write an if else statement, again indent the columns and all. So too much of a headache, right? So what Python did for the programmers is like, okay, let us make things simple. Let us comment the entire block and make use of for else. Okay, so what happens with for else? So you have the same numbers 1 2 and all odd numbers, so it is iterating numbers by numbers. Now Python says that okay, the same logic, if I have the remainder 0, right, I will, the list will contain an even number. The moment it contains an even number, it will break out of the loop. If you are having confusion, let us just print this. Okay, the current number read is, and then we say num. Okay, so what for else does, see, for and else are on the same line. Line number 19 and 24 are on the same indentation. So it says that if the whole for loop, right, when you read the whole for loop and it comes to an end, right, and the condition does not satisfy, right, this does not satisfy, then in that case I am printing the else part. Okay, so let us see the output for this. So what happened, every time this if full loop will fail, finally when you reach the end of the list, the else part will execute. See, the current element read is 11 33 blah 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 blah, final element is 13 here, final element is 13. So the list has come to an end. Since nothing basically happened in the operation, basically we found no even number, the else part is executed. The reason for the else part execution is also like that. So see, we did not have to make use of flag variables. The entire logic, if you see from this point, was exactly the same. So instead of using one line for flag, two line for declaration, and then additional four line for processing, total 6 lines, I am here using only 2 lines. Okay, and no use of extra variable. So now let us keep an element called 80, 98. Okay, 98 is an even number. So the moment it reads 98, this particular if statement will be true. Since the if statement is true, I will print it's an even number. Then I will break off the loop. When you break out of the loop, see, for and else are on the same indentation. Like in if else, right? If else, only one thing happens. The moment you break out of this loop, the cursor will come here. Cursor comes here. So it skips the else part. Let us execute the code. You see 11, 33, the moment 98 comes, so 98 modulus 2 is 0, it prints here, it breaks out of the loop, the cursor is here. Okay, so that is the use of for else. Frankly, I have never used for else. We have a habit of using flags, but if you are comfortable with for else, I would definitely recommend the use of for else. That's it for this video. Have a